भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं च नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भवति नैष्टिके. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 18, Diti vows to kill King Indra. Text number 53 onwards. So Kashyap Muni is telling Diti to follow this vrata to have the child who will be able to kill Indra. So further he is speaking, Istriyo Veeravatishthat Chet Srag Gandh Balimandane Patim Chachyor Patishteta Dhyayat Kosht Gatam Chatam. With flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, ornaments, and other paraphernalia, a woman following this vow should worship women who have sons and whose husbands are living. The pregnant wife should worship her husband and offer him prayers. She should meditate upon him, thinking that he is situated in her womb. The child in the womb is a part of her husband's body. Therefore, the husband, through his representative, indirectly remains within the womb of his pregnant wife. So that's how she should meditate upon him. Samvatsaram punsavanam vratam etad viplitam dharishyasi chetubhyam shakraha bhavita sutaha. Kashyap Muni continued, if you perform this ceremony called Punsavan, adhering to the vow with faith for at least 1 year, you will give birth to a son destined to kill Indra. But if there is any discrepancy in the discharge of this vow, the son will be a friend to Indra. So such a difficult vow, it's not easy. For 1 full year with no discrepancy at all. Balam iti abhyupetya diti rajan mahamana kashyapad garbham adhatta vratam chanchu dadharasa. O King Parikshit, Diti, the wife of Kashyap, agreed to undergo the purificatory process known as Punsavan. Yes, she said, I shall do everything according to your instructions. With great jubilation, she became pregnant, having taken semen from Kashyap, and faithfully began discharging the vow. Matrishva asur abhiprayam indra agyaya manata shushrushne nashramastham ditim paryacharat kavihi. O king, who are respectful to everyone, Indra understood Diti's purpose, and thus he contrived to fulfill his own interests. Following the logic that self-preservation is the first law of nature, he wanted to break Diti's promise. Thus he engaged himself in the service of Diti, his aunt, because Diti is sister of Aditi, and Aditi is mother of Indra, who was residing in an ashram. So what did Indra do? Now Indra understood Diti wants a son who would kill me. So he engaged himself in the service of his aunt, Diti. For what? That to see if at any time Diti breaks the vow, and he would be able to kill the child within the womb of Diti. And his logic was self-preservation is the first law of nature, means I should be protected. I don't care for anything else. So this is obviously the material world. Spiritual world, those are transcendently, they don't care. They don't like to defend themselves. Nityam vanat sumanasa phalam moola samit kusham patrankur mrido apascha kale kal upaharat. Indra served his aunt daily with bringing flowers, fruits, roots, and wood for yagyas from the forest. He also brought kusha grass, leaves, sprouts, earth, and water exactly at the proper time. Obviously, Indra was in disguise. He didn't come as Indra himself. एवं तस्य वृतस्थाय वृतच्छिद्रं हरिर्नृप प्रेषु परिचरन् जेयो मृग एव मृगाकृतिः. O King Parikshit, as a hunter of a deer becomes like a deer by covering his body with deer skin and serving the deer, so Indra, although at heart the enemy of the sons of Diti, became outwardly friendly and served Diti in a faithful way. Indra's purpose was to cheat Diti as soon as he could find some fault in the way she discharged the vows of the ritualistic ceremony. However, he wanted to be undetected, and therefore he served her very carefully. Nadya gacchad vritachidram tatparo athmahipate chintam tivram gatah shakraha kena me syat shivam tviha. O master of the entire world, when Indra could find no faults, he thought, how will there be good fortune for me? Thus he was full of deep anxiety. It's in the material world, everybody is in anxiety. Indra is in anxiety, she will produce a child who will kill me. Diti is in anxiety, how am I going to produce a child to kill Indra? So only person who has no anxiety is a devotee. He has full faith in Krishna. Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rakhe Krishna, Mare ke. So who bother? Who cares for anything else? Ekda satu sandhyayam uchishta vritkarshita asprishta varya dhotangri sushavapa vidimohita. Having grown weak and thin because of strictly following the principles of the vow, Diti once unfortunately neglected to wash her mouth, hands, and feet after eating, and she went to sleep during the evening twilight. so, she was weak, thin, and she just was too tired, and she had her food, and she went to sleep. लब्ध्वा तदंतरम शक्रो निद्रा प्रहत चेतसः दिते प्रविष्ट उदरम योगेशो योगमायया. Finding this fault, Indra, who has all the mystic powers, the Yog Siddhis such as Anima and Laghima, entered Diti's womb while she was unconscious, being fast asleep. A perfectly successful yogi is expert in 8 kinds of perfection. By one of them, called Anima Siddhi, he can become smaller than an atom, and in that state, he can enter anywhere. With this yogic power, Indra entered the womb of Diti while she was pregnant. So he went inside Diti's womb. He didn't want to kill Diti, but he wanted to kill the child. Chakarta saptadha garbham vajrena kanak prabham rudantam saptadhakekam ma rodir iti tan punaha. After entering Diti's womb, Indra, with the help of his thunderbolt, so he had the thunderbolt, even the thunderbolt became small when he entered the womb of Diti. He cut the embryo or womb into 7 pieces. He cut into 7 pieces her embryo, which appeared like glowing gold. In 7 places, 7 different living beings began crying. Indra told them, do not cry. And then he cut each of them into 7 pieces again. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Indra, by his yogic power, first expanded the body of one Marut into 7. And then when he cut each of the 7 parts of the original body into pieces, there were 49. When each body was cut into 7, other living entities entered the new bodies. And thus they were like plants, which become separate entities when cut into various parts and planted on a hill. The first body was one, and when it was cut into many pieces, many of the living entities entered the new bodies. And they did not die. They were cut into pieces, and they were started to cry, "Why are you killing us?" And they were glowing gold. Why? Because of the devotion service of Diti, austerities and devotion service that she was performing. So it was, and it was concentrating on the embryo in the womb, and it was part of Kashyap Muni's body. So it's a very powerful entity, and they could not be killed by Indra. तमुचु पाट्य मानस्ते सर्वे प्रांजलयो नृप किम न इंद्र जिघांससी भ्रातरो मरुतस्तव. O king, being very much aggrieved, they pleaded to Indra with folded hands, saying, "Dear Indra, we are the Maruts, your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us? Ma bhashta bhratro mayyam yuyam iti aha koshika ananya bhavan parshadhananatmano marutam ganan." When Indra saw that actually they were his devoted followers, he said to them, "If you are all my brothers, you have nothing more to fear from me." Because the deal was either they will be Indra's enemies or Indra's followers. न ममारदितेर गर्भा श्रीनिवासानुकंप्यया बहुधा कुलिश क्षुण्णो द्रोण्यस्त्रेण यथा भवान. Shukdev Goswami said, "My dear King Parikshit, you were burned by the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, but when Lord Krishna entered the womb of your mother, you were saved. Similarly, although the one embryo was cut into 49 pieces by the thunderbolts of Indra, they were all saved by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So this is the power of devotional service. Sakridishtavadi purusham purusho yati samyatam samvatsaram kinchidunam ditya yadharirarchitaha sajurindrena panchashad devaste maruto abhavan vyapoya matridosham te harina somapakritaha. If one worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original person, even once, he receives the benefit of being promoted to the spiritual world and possessing the same bodily features as Vishnu. Diti worshipped Lord Vishnu for almost 1 year, adhering to a great vow. Because of such strength in spiritual life, the 49 Maruts were born. How then is it wonderful that the Maruts, although born from the womb of Diti, became equal to the demigods by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So it was all the mercy of the Supreme Lord, because Diti had performed great devotion service for 1 full year. Ditiruttaya dadrishe kumaranannalam prabhan indrena sahitam devi paritushya anindita. Because of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Diti was completely purified. When she got up from bed, she saw her 49 sons along with Indra. So that would be really put anybody in surprise what is happening. These 49 sons were all as brilliant as fire and were in friendship with Indra. And therefore she was very pleased. Why she was pleased? Because this devotion service had purified her, completely purified her consciousness. She had no more enviousness or animosity against Indra. Athendram ahatataham adityanam bhayavaham apatyam icchanti acharam vratam etat sudushkaram. Therefore Diti said to Indra, "My dear son, I adhere to this difficult vow just to get a son, to kill you 12 Adityas." Not just Indra she wanted to kill, but she wanted to kill all the 12 Adityas. Eka sankalpita putra sapta sapta bhavan katham yadite viditam putra satyam kathay mam risha. I prayed for only one son, but now I see that there are 49. How has this happened, my dear son Indra? If you know, please tell me the truth. Do not try to speak lies. Indravacha amba te aham vyavasitam upadharyaagato labdhantaro achiddam garbhamartha buddhirna dharmadrik. So Indra replied, my dear mother, so he called her Amba, mother, because I was grossly blinded by selfish interests, I lost sight of religion. When I understood that you were observing a great vow in spiritual life, I wanted to find some fault in you. When I found such a fault, I entered your womb and cut the embryo to pieces. When Diti, Indra's aunt, explained to Indra without reservations what she had wanted to do, Indra explained his intentions to her. Thus, both of them, instead of being enemies, freely spoke the truth. This is a qualification that results from contact with Vishnu. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavatiya Kinchana. If one develops a devotional attitude and becomes purified by worshipping the Supreme Lord, all the good qualities are certainly manifested in his body. Because of being touched by the worship of Vishnu, both Diti and Indra were purified. And they just spoke truth to each other. Krito me saptadha garbha asan sapta kumarakaha te api chaike kasho vrikna saptadha na api mamrire. First I cut the child in the womb into 7 pieces, which became 7 children. Then I cut each of the children into 7 pieces again. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, however, none of them died. Tatastat paramascharayam vikshya vyavasitam maya Mahapurush Pujaya Siddhi Kapyanushangini. My dear mother, when I saw that all 49 sons were alive, I was certainly struck with wonder. I decided that this was a secondary result of having regularly executed devotion service in worship of Lord Vishnu. So here he says, Indra said, this was a secondary result. So the primary result definitely is you develop devotion service, develop love for Krishna. Secondary is, nothing bad can happen. It could be seemingly bad. We might undergo some things, but ultimately it won't be bad. It will all be good. For one who engages in worshipping Lord Vishnu, nothing is very wonderful. This is a fact. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishna. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Yogeshwara is the supreme personality of Godhead, the master of all mystic yoga, who can do anything and everything he likes. This is the omnipotence of the Supreme Lord. For one who pleases the Supreme Lord, no achievement is wonderful. Everything is possible for him. So this is, Indra himself said, this is a secondary result. Nothing, not even primary. And anything a devotee does or achieves or attains, it's just nothing wonderful. Because when Krishna is there and devotee is there, Krishna, Yogeshwara, master of all mystics, what's a big deal if a devotee attains or achieves something? Aradhanam bhagvati mana nirashisha yetu nechantyaphi param te swartha kushla smritaha. Although those who are interested only in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not desire anything material from the Lord and do not even want liberation, Lord Krishna fulfills all their desires. When Dhruva Maharaj saw Lord Vishnu, he declined to take any benedictions from him, for he was fully satisfied by seeing the Lord. Nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that because Dhruva Maharaj in the beginning had desired a kingdom greater than his father's, he was promoted to Dhruvaloka, the best planet in the universe. So the Lord wanted to fulfill all his material desires, although Dhruva Maharaj didn't even want it. Therefore, in the Shastra, it is said, Akama Sarva Kamava. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he is full of material desires, free from material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. One should engage in full devotional service. Then, even though he has no desires, whatever desires he previously had, can all be fulfilled simply by his worship of the Lord. The actual devotee does not desire even liberation. The Lord, however, fulfills the desire of the devotee by awarding him opulence that will never be destroyed. A karmi's opulence is destroyed, but the opulence of a devotee is never destroyed. A devotee becomes more and more opulent as he increases his devotional service to the Lord. At the same time, he can take. So it's all up to Krishna, whatever he wants, howsoever he wants to keep his devotee. Aradhyatam pradam devam asvatmanam jagadishwaram kovrinit gunasparsham buddha syanarke apiyata. The ultimate goal of all ambitions is to become a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If an intelligent man serves the most dear Lord who gives himself to his devotees, how can he desire material happiness, which is available even in hell? So a devotee doesn't even care for any material desires. Even Lord Nrsimhadev, we can see in the background, he came to protect Prahlad Maharaj and he killed Hiranyakashipu. And after Hiranyakashipu was killed, Prahlad Maharaj went there and he prayed to the Lord to pacify him. And then the Lord asked him to ask for some benedictions. And Prahlad Maharaj, 5-year-old boy who was attempted to be murdered by his father, what did he say? My Lord, if I ask you anything, that will be like I'm doing a business transaction. I'm not a businessman. So how much pleased Lord Nrsimhadev must be with Prahlad Maharaj at that time? He doesn't want anything. He repeatedly asked Prahlad Maharaj, no, ask something. It would make me happy if you ask me something. Then he said, okay, if it pleases you, then just give liberation to my father. Just forgive him. That was his desire. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches, oh my almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. A pure devotee never begs the Lord for material happiness in the shape of riches, followers, a good wife, or even mukti. The Lord promises, however, yoga kshemam mahamya. I voluntarily bring everything necessary for my service. That is His mercy. Tadidam mam dorjanyam balishasya mahiyasi kshantum arhasi matastam dishtya garbham ritotta. Oh, my mother, best of all women, I am a fool. Kindly excuse me for whatever offenses I have committed. Your 49 sons have been born unhurt because of your devotional service. As an enemy, I cut them to pieces, but because of your great devotional service, they did not die. Shri Shukuvacha Indrastatyabhya Anugyata Shuddha Bhaven Tushtaya Marudbhi Sahtam Natva Jagam Tridivam Prabhu. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, Diti was extremely satisfied by Indra's good behavior. Then Indra offered his respects to his aunt with profuse obeisances, and with her permission, he went away to the heavenly planets with his brothers, the Maruts. Evam te sarvam akyatam yanmam tvam pariprakshasi. Mangalam marutam janma kim bhuya kathyamite. My dear King Parikshit, I have replied as far as possible to the questions you have asked me. especially in regard to this pure auspicious narration about the Maruts. Now you may inquire further, and I shall explain more. Thus ends the Prabhupada's purpose to 6th canto, 18th chapter of Bhagavatam, entitled Diti vows to kill King Indra. So we shall stop here and we'll start the 19th chapter. This is the last chapter of 6th canto. So very soon we'll be completing 6th canto also. Haribol. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, is that Diti gave up that the anger which she has for Indra because of 1 year of full devotional service to Vishnu, Lord Vishnu?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is. That means.
But
yeah.
that devotional service was very pure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what devotional service does. It just transforms our consciousness.
Exactly, Prabhuji. And I think even chanting and doing the service for Lord Krishna, it makes a person humble, more down to earth, and and when you are humble, down to earth, not having any envy for anyone, there won't be any fight in this world. You will be easygoing,
Yep.
living being.
Yep, that's what it does. And that is devotional service.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, of course, what we are doing, it's like ripe mango versus unripe mango. So what we are trying to do is it's like a unripe mango. So, but slowly, it has to come to the level of perfection.
Yeah. Right, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Okay, so I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.